I always love to give a shout out to anything that helps people or really just promote and tell people about someone that's doing an amazing job in helping people. And I do this on my Facebook group and this channel. And the person I want to talk about today is Dr. Gabor Maté. Now, if you look at my videos, you'll see I already have a video about him, and I raved about him in this last video. I want to do a special one on the recent book that he has out now, and he's kind of making the rounds on programs and talking about it. And I'm going to share a link to an interview that he had on a podcast, Rich Roll podcast, and because it'll open your eyes a lot and make you want to read the book for sure, or at least follow his work, okay? I'll put it in the description so you can see it. So The Myth of Normal is a book that specifically focuses on the toxic culture, the toxic society that we grow up and live in, all right? And he talks, I've been a student of his work for 2 years now. I've heard him talk in many talks about this kind of a thing, and he has been on his mission for a long time has been explaining what trauma does to people. And trauma doesn't only happen to certain people, like we used to think, real severe cases of sexual and emotional and physical abuse, okay? No, every one of us is traumatized by how we grow up in this culture because our needs aren't met. Our human needs as a child aren't met by most people, okay? And in the culture, because our parents didn't know any different, got a lot of bad advice from doctors for years, like don't pick up your kid when he's crying, and all kinds of stuff like that. They know now that that's traumatic for the child, and that thing alone, that experience alone, can cause emotional problems or physical problems with that person as they get older, okay? It's incredible now, all the stuff that we're learning. So in this book, The Myth of Normal, he focuses just on that. And it's just fascinating. We all have trauma, and then we manifest it from the stress in our lives, the way we're living, because we're not living normal. We don't have enough time in nature. We're way too connected with technology. Our use of technology is just blown up. I actually have a chapter in my book that I'm going to be publishing in May that's 6,000 words on our relationship to technology. There's so much to be said, and I didn't even touch everything. Anyway. The Myth of Normal. So he uses the analogy of a petri dish in a laboratory. So you put the little organisms in the petri dish, and then you add substances to the petri dish and see what happens, right? And to see how they react. And if they get sick or if they die, the scientists call it a toxic culture. So it's a great analogy. Think about our culture. Think about a lot of the messaging that we get, not being able to express ourselves and be a certain way, and a lot of judgment and shame around things. And men and women both get all kinds of different messages. Children, of course, from the very beginning, and all these different things. And then you add technology on top of that, okay? And the total disconnect with people, too much connection with technology constantly. People are working all the time now, weekends, nighttime, whatever. All this stuff really stresses us out. And then we express it different ways. We have different physical manifestations. Maybe someone has really bad intestinal problems. Maybe they have a lot of anxiety. Maybe problems with their skin, a brain tumor. I had a connective tissue breakdown and had a disc collapse and had to get a back fusion. My mom died of a brain tumor. All of these things are because our organism, our body, it's one thing, mind, body, the whole thing, is being so stressed out, we have different illnesses that show up. Now, that's not the only thing that's causing these illnesses, but it's a big thing. And you could easily see the mental stress that people are under regularly now for the last 2 years. And even after coming out of isolation, people it affected them so badly because they were just constantly online and connected and stuff like that and isolated. So I highly recommend you reading the book, or even just listening to some of his talks about it, so it'll open up your mind. And I'm going to have a link to an interview in the description of one of his talks, and so you can see yourself, okay? I hope you have a great day.